Hey guys, it's me again, and in this video I'm going to be sharing with you my updated version of my Dragon World deck profile. This has come so far since the first time I showed it to you guys. It's changed and gone through so many changes, and it's so much better now and so much more consistent now that I've gotten kind of a general idea of what everyone in the main meta is playing, and it is very fun to play. Very consistent, and it's changed actually quite a bit, so I'm going to explain all my changes, and let's just get right into this. So for the start, we have, I got myself one of the Gao Mikado secret flags. Shout out to One Stop Anime in Norman, Oklahoma for the owner of the shop holding on to this and thinking of me. Really, really, really appreciate you having this card to help me out with, because I really, really wanted the secret flag. I just didn't want to hunt it down because they're so freaking hard to find. So thank you very much for that. For the buddy monster is still 5th Omni Cavalry Dragon, Sandstaff Arcade. I cannot sing this card's praises enough. She literally will save me and is always there, and she's voiced by the same person that plays Misaki in Vanguard, so that's a +2. So Sandstaff Arcade, if you don't already know, her skill is this card cannot be called to center. When you're dealt damage, if you don't have a monster in your center position, you may move this monster into your center. And when this card is destroyed, you may put the top card of your deck into your gauge and gain 1 life. And she is a size 1 with 2,000 power, 2 crit, and 2 defense. So she gives you gauge, life, and can protect you. What more do you want? For the only size 3 that I'm still playing is still the 1 copy of 4th Omni Fire Lord Burn 4th Omni Fire Lord Burn Nova. This card literally will save you, and every time I have sprung him on people, he ends up being the reason I win, just because they're not expecting it. He's an Omni Lord from Ancient World, which is why we can play him. So his call cost is when your life would become 0 during your opponent's turn, you may pay 3 gauge. Your life becomes 1, and for this turn, you cannot be dealt damage. And so really, really good. When this card enters the field, you may discard your entire hand, put all cards other than this card from your field into the drop zone, and for this turn, this card cannot be destroyed. He is a size 3 monster with 9,000 power, 2 crit, and 8,000 defense, and he has triple attack, so he can hit your opponent 3 times. So if they're not, if their center is wide open and they have no defense, you can literally on your next turn swing at them for 6 damage, and sometimes it will literally steal you a game. I know this because I've done it many times. Size 2. For the MVP of the size 2s, it is still our 4 copies of 5th Omni Dragon Lord Drum. My Dragonic Overlord, I guess you could say, of Buddy Fight, and my favorite card overall. This card is just so, so good. He is an Omni Lord, but since this is Dragon World, I can max out on it. I'm actually looking for a Buddy Rare version of him now. But that's going to take a while because finding a buddy rare of this is very, very hard, but I hopefully will find one day. Call cost, pay 1 gauge and put the top card of your deck into this card's soul, and then his skill, where he really shines, is when you are dealt damage, if you're at 6 life or less, destroy a monster on your opponent's side of the field. So it, if you're at 7 life, your opponent is going to be very scared to hit you to 6 if this is on the field, because you can literally just turn around and kill one of their monsters. So if they have 2 monsters on the field and you're at 7 life and they hit you, you can use his skill to pop their other monster and limit their attacks that turn. So he is just so, so good. Keeping with the drums, we're playing 4 copies of Crimson Battler Drum Bunker Dragon. This is a new addition to the deck, and it is one that is very well needed, especially in this format with Star Dragon World running all over the frickin' place, and Move being very, very out there in the game now. His ability is pay 1 gauge and put the top card of your deck into this card's soul, so he has Soul Guard. He is a size 2 monster with 5,000 power, 3 critical, and 2 defense. If you have a card equipped with Fist in its card name, this card gets Penetrate. So you can still deal damage to your opponent if they have a monster in the center. So really, really good card. And What I really like is that he has the 3 critical, just like 5th Omni Dragonlord Drum. And his stats, his defense is low, but he makes up for it with the penetrate skill. So then we're playing 2 copies of 5th Omni Dragonlord Drum, the Punisher. This was the promo card at the tournament in Austin, and my teammates Sam and Christian were very generous to give me theirs because they knew I would want it for this deck, so thank you very much, and a shout out for the 2 of them. So he's also obviously an Omni Lord. You only receive this card if you went to the Buddy Fight tournament, but I'm pretty sure if you do want him, you can find people who are selling him online. He is a size 2 monster with 6,000 power, 2 crit, and 5 defense. This card is really needed in Dragon World in general because his ability is pay 2 gauge and put the top card of your deck into this card's soul. So like all drums, he still has Soul Guard in this deck. And when this card enters the field, if you are dealt damage, when this card enters the field or you are dealt damage, destroy an item on your opponent's field. So really, really good because if you're going up against Hero World, there are certain cards that you just want to immediately get rid of. Against Kaiserion, he's really not going to do any good because Kaiserion builds up a fucking soul like no one's business. But against Captain Answer, Drum, or any of the dark heroes, you can just immediately just say, you know, screw off, get off the field, and as long as he's on the field, he's going to be it's going to be hard for them to maintain one. So, and then for the last size 2 is I'm still playing 1 copy of 3rd Omni Waterlord Miseria. I love Miseria. I'm sorry, you know, some people have told me that I really should consider cutting him, but since he's a one of, if I don't see him, it's really not that big of a problem. And if I do see him and I can use him, great. If not, he just goes to the gauge. He's a nice weapon to have if I can abuse him. So he is an Omni Lord from Dungeon World. So his call cost is pay 2 gauge and put up to 2 spell cards from your drop zone into this card's soul. He is a size 2 monster with 6,000 power, 2 critical, and 5 defense. He has double attack, soul guard, and lifelink too. So if he does die and leave the field, you take 2 damage. But he is a very, very good card to rush your opponent down with. If certain matchups, he would be sided out for another Punisher or something else. But for size 1s, obviously we're playing 4 copies of our Buddy. Already explained her, so I'll just move on. And we're playing 3 copies of Drum Bunker SD. This card right here is Drum's best friend, and that is because of its skill. Drum Bunker SD. It's a size 1 monster with 3,000 power, 2 crit, and 1 defense. He has a skill called Go Towards Tomorrow. It's when a monster with Drum in its card name enters your field, if this card is in your drop zone, you may pay 1 gauge. If you do, put this card from your drop zone into the soul of that card and call it. And Go Towards Tomorrow can only activate once per turn. So basically what this does is any drum in the deck, it makes Drum have 2 cards in the soul. So that means for every drum that hits my field, if this is in the drop zone and I can pay the gauge, which is real easy to maintain gauge in this build, you're going to have to kill each drum 3 times before he dies. So he literally takes 3 shots. Which is really good, and considering all my drums, 1 kills monsters, 1 penetrates, and 1 kills items, really, it's just a very good card, and plus, he's a good card for first turn. Next, we play 3 copies of 5th Omni Cavalry Dragon Fire Sword Doppel. I've noticed a lot of cards that are decks that are still playing Drum have cut this, but I just like him because he's a size 1 monster with 5,000 power, 2 crit, 1 defense, and he has no call cost. He can't be called to the center, but whenever you're dealt damage, you get to put the top card of your deck into the gauge. So, since this deck does use gauge, he lets you maintain your gauge. He lets you recharge the gauge. Then we're also playing 2 copies of 5th Omni Dragonlord Tenbu SD. This is just a good little tech card. Whenever he's placed on the field, you may destroy a size 1 monster, or you may choose one soul card from one card on the field and remove that card's soul. So he helps you against Kaiserion, he helps you in the Danger World matchups. He pretty much helps you against anything that has soul. He's just a good card. And then we're playing 2 copies of Thunder Knight's Double Flail Dragon, another card to help you with cards with soul. Thunder Knight's Flail Dragon is a size 1 monster with 3,000 power, 2 crit, and 2,000 defense. His call cost is pay 1 gauge. When a monster on your field with Thunder Knights in its card name moves, you get to put a card from the soul of your you get to take a soul from a card on your opponent's field and place it in the drop zone. This card only activates once per turn. So you can really start pinging away soul real easy, and he's going to be definitely seen a lot with Dual Jaeger coming around. I really think Dual Jaeger is going to take off. But with my size 1s, what I really like is my buddy rebuilds my gauge, the Drum Bunker SD costs gauge, Fire Sword Doppel rebuilds the gauge, this costs gauge, this costs nothing. So I try and have enough cards to where it offsets a lot of the 1 gauge costs. So gauge is never really a problem. So this deck accumulates gauge really, really fast. So for the items, we're playing 3 copies of Steel Fist Drago Knuckle. So speaking of gauge, Drago Knuckle equip cost is pay 1 life. And then its skill, Volcanic Charge. When this card deals damage to your opponent, place the top card of your deck into your gauge. So this is another card that lets you build your gauge, so you can summon more drums and pay for more costs. And also, Draco Knuckle, its counter skill is really, really good. Volcanic Burst. During this card's battle, you may pay 1 gauge. If you do this for this battle, this card gets plus 2,000 power. So it and since that's an axe skill, you can just continually keep using it and get your fist up to 2,000, 4,000, 6,000, 8,000, whatever you want, as long as you just continually pay 1 gauge. So just keep that in mind. But next, we're playing 1 copy of 5th Omni Dragon Fist Ablaze. This skill, its equip cost is pay 1 gauge and you take 1 damage. Other than damage, its skills are other than damage dealt by an attack. Damage dealt to you is reduced by 1, and if you have a monster with Drum in its card name on your field, this card gets plus 3,000 and Penetrate. So if you happen to have this equipped while having Crimson Battle or Drum Bunker on the field, you'll get double Penetrate. So you can attack with both of them, and both of their criticals will be dealt to your opponent if the attack manages to hit, which is really, really good. Now, you might be asking yourself why I only am playing 1 copy of this card, and that's because at the moment I only have 1. But if I get more, I will replace these with that, and until then, I'm playing 2 copies of 5th Omni Dragon Fist Roaring Flame. Even though this is not a Blaze, it's still a good card. It's pay 1 gauge. All armor dragons on your field get plus 1,000 attack and plus 1,000 defense. So it's not as good as a Blaze, but it is definitely a good solid substitute. For spell cards, we're playing 4 blue Dragon Shield, which lets us gain gauge, 4 green Dragon Shield, which gives us back life, and then we're playing 2 copies of Dragon Lord Shield. Basically, you nullify an attack and take 1 damage, so this can kick off 5th Omni Dragon Lord Drum, 5th Omni Dragon Lord the Punisher, or Fire Sword Doppel. The last build I did for you guys, I was playing 12 shields. The reason I cut down a little bit is because I saw shields too much, and shields are great to have, but you don't want to just have a full hand of them, because then you can't do anything. But 10 shields has been working out really well. And I'm playing 3 copies of Drago Desperate. This card kind of acts like a shield, especially depending on if I have 5th Omni Dragon Lord Drum, if I have 5th Omni Drum or Drum the Punisher, because this card is cast cost, pay 1 gauge, and I take 1 damage. Since I'm taking 1 damage, that kicks off 5th Omni Dragon Lord Drum or Drum the Punisher. and it lets me rest a size 2 or less monster or item on my opponent's field. So you can really kick off so many skills and just do a complete board wipe of your opponent. You can kill a monster and rest a monster. You can kill a monster and rest an item. So many cool things you can do with this card. And then we are playing 2 copies of Draco Wisdom Knowledge of the 5th Omni. We're still playing plenty of targets to make this card still usable, even though this is not a straight 5th Omni deck anymore. But we're playing enough to where you're still going to be able to use this more times than not. You may only cast this card if you have a card with 5th Omni in its card name on your field. Cast cost is take 1 damage, which will also kick off any of your skills that kick off when you take damage. You get to put the top card of your deck into your gauge, and you get to draw a card. So also helps restore the gauge a little bit. And then for the final spell card, we're playing 1 copy of Draconic Grimoire. If you're at 5 life or less, discard your entire hand and draw 3 cards. You use this to basically, if you have a small hand, or if you have no hand even, just cast this and draw cards. So it gets you back in the game. And for the last 2 cards is I'm playing 2 copies of Dragon Lord Initiation, Giga Howling Crusher. I was playing Gargantua Punisher last time you saw it, but I switched over to this because you can deal more damage at less cost as long as you have an item equipped, you're a buddy monster on the field, or drum, which is really easy to do now since this deck pretty much revolves around drum. So you may only cast this card if you have a buddy monster or a monster with drum in its card name on your field, and you have an item equipped, and neither you nor your opponent has a monster in the center. Pay 3 gauge, deal damage to your opponent equal to the sum of the criticals of a monster and an item on your field. The damage dealt by this card cannot be reduced. So if you have any of your fist items equipped that all have 2 critical, and you have either 5th Omni Dragon Lord Drum or Crimson Battler Drum on your field, that deals 5 damage. So really, really good impact card. And only having 2, I still see this card enough. So I'm really not worried about only playing 2. And then for the sideboard, little Umbreon there, we're playing 2 copies of 5th Omni Dragon Lord Tenbu. I'm still wanting 1 Crazed Tenbu, and then it would be 1 of each, but until then, 2 Tenbu's fine. When he call cost is pay 2 gauge. When this card enters the field, destroy all monsters on your opponent's field. So he's a Regeki. Yu-Gi-Oh reference. 2 copies of 5th Omni Armored Dragon Flame Summoner Rondo. His call cost is pay 1 gauge. Take any 5th Omni card out of your drop zone, put it into your hand. If you do, you take 1 damage. Citing a 3rd copy of Drum the Punisher, just for those pesky Hero World matches, which I frickin' hate. And then we're also citing a 3rd Thunder Knights Dragon Flail Dragon. I'm probably going to put a 4th of this in for when Dual Jaeger comes out. And just for more Star Dragon World hate. And then we're teching also a 3rd copy of 5th Omni Dragon Lord Tenbu SD for the same reasons. We're teching, citing a 4th Draco Desperate. We are citing 1 5th Omni Oath Dragon Undertake. You may only cast this card when you are dealt damage. Counter, call a size 2 or less monster with 5th Omni in its card name from your drop zone in your left or right position by paying its call cost. And then for the last side card is, at the moment, I am teching a 3rd copy of Dragon Lord Initiation Giga Howling Crusher, but this is only the rare copy. I'm looking for 1 more of the secret, if anybody has one. But anyway, that is the sideboard. I'm going to go under some changes, definitely, for when Invincible Dragon comes out later this month. But really good right now. So that is my updated Drum Dragon World deck. I really don't know what to call this. If I had to guess, I would call it something like Drum Swarm or Drum Control. We'll go with Drum Control. I like that because literally the deck just revolves around getting a drum on board and causing havoc for your opponent. So we'll go with drum control. Just being able to kill off your opponent's field, kill off their items with Punisher, or penetrate through with Crimson Battler is just so good. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this updated deck profile of my Dragon World deck. So much fun to play, so much fun to mess around with. I really enjoy playing this deck a lot. So anyway, please, in the comment section below, tell me what you thought. If you have some more further suggestions for me, I would love to hear them. Some of you did make suggestions to me the last time I posted this, and I did take some of them into consideration. And tried some of them out. Some of them really didn't work out for this deck that I liked, but I do like them for other builds that I'm going to try. So you will get to see those in the future. So anyway, guys, you will be getting a Sun Dragon deck profile from me, Star Dragon World, and Darkness Dragon World, all the Dragon clans. Not surprising for me, and probably, like I said, definitely Drago Wizards, and probably now 72 Pillars as well. And there is going to be another Buddy Fight deck profile posted the same time this will be posted as well, so you can check that out too. So anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the profile. Please leave me all your thoughts below. Want to hear your guys' ideas. Remember, guys, if you still want to see more Buddy Fight videos, since this is a new thing to the channel, feel free to suggest anything that you want to see. So thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, thumbs up the video, and I will see you next time.